Hey, in this video I'm going to show you how to adjust the adjustable trigger on your SSR4 Mark II. Before we begin, we're going to be operating the trigger directly. So for this first part, make sure to make the gun safe, remove the magazine, remove any battery which may be connected to the gun in order to adjust the tension of the trigger in this first part. The SSR4 Mark II trigger has two adjustments. One, the one that we'll be looking at right now, the tension adjustment, which means how strong does the trigger fight me when I pull it. You're going to feel a different strength in it. And the second part, which is a pre-cock adjustment, which pre-tensions the trigger so that it removes any slack before the shot actually breaks. In order to do so and to adjust anything on this gun, we have two included tools in the package. You will find a small Allen key and a small two-headed hex key, hex tool. This small two-headed hex tool has a 1.5mm hex and a 1.25mm hex, which is the same as this little tool right here. This is also 1.25. The reason we include both of them is because, put simply, this is just much more convenient to adjust the pre-cocking adjustment. So for now, we put this aside and we just focus on the tensioning tool. The tensioning screw is the one that actually sits at an angle, sits at a 45-degree angle, and you can see it right there in the trigger itself. So the way to do this is just insert the two-headed tool in the trigger as such. If you unscrew it so that you can see the screw starts to come out, then that means it's already off. It's completely as soft as it can be. This should be the default position from the out of the box. Now, the more I screw it in until it will hit the bottom, that is going to tension the feeling on the trigger. So I'm just going to start to rotate this. Towards the end, it might get a little bit more hard to turn. And if that is the case and you want to ensure that it's fully tightened and this is becoming impossible, you can actually still use this other Allen key while keeping the trigger pressed, which will make it even more hard to turn the screw, but it might actually make it easier to turn it and to ensure it's all the way turned. Yeah, now I can feel it. There is no way I can turn it even more than this. So now you will have the trigger as hard as possible. You can actually feel the difference. There is a huge difference between fully off and fully on. And obviously to take the tension off, we're just going to do the reverse in reverse order. You don't have to worry about these screws falling out. They should have screw glue on them, which is the non-hardening type, so it should not loosen or fall on its own. Next, we can move to adjust the pre-cocking level, for which we will need to install a battery, but we still need to make sure the gun is safe and there is no BBs inside. So now we reinstall the battery, but we do need to make sure that there is no BBs inside so that you don't hurt yourself or anybody else. So make sure you're going to point in a safe direction, nobody in front of me. It's all clear. If you have the BB retention O-ring installed, be mindful there still might be BBs inside, which will fool you into thinking the gun is not shooting, but then at some point it will shoot. So if you have that O-ring installed, I would strongly advise to make sure visually that none of the BBs are still inside of the barrel before you proceed to this step. Now that we have the battery installed, let me go ahead and put the stock back on. And now from this position, the gun will come with zero pre-cocking adjustment on the trigger, which means it's in full forward position. The more we adjust, the more we add adjustment to it, the more the trigger will get pre-engaged up until the point where the gun can actually shoot on its own. So the adjustment range can allow for greater than 100% adjustment. We just need to make sure to get to that point and then back off as much as we would like. It depends on how much of a trigger, of a hair trigger you want to make it, but I would recommend not to make it very hair trigger because that could lead to involuntary shots. So let me show you how to do this. The simplest would be to use the long included 1.25 hex tool, and we locate the adjustment screw right there, which is basically from the bottom directly. I just insert the tool and I start rotating. Let me offer you a better vision right here. The more I will start rotating, the more you will see the trigger actually start compressing. As you can see that it moves. And I'm gonna start compressing it so far that it actually shoots on its own. That's what I want now, and then I'm gonna back off slightly so that I can find that absolute maximum point. I go slowly so that I catch that moment. There we go. It's almost there. Yeah. So now I'm gonna back off slightly, and now I'm just gonna test it. As you can see, it's pretty heavy trigger. Like I barely move it and it's already shooting. So that's way too sensitive for me. So I'm just gonna back it off half a turn or so. All right, this is much more manageable. So there is still a little bit of play, so I'm not gonna involuntarily let the shot off. But still it's very sensitive that I can just shoot very fast. That is basically how you adjust the adjustable trigger on your SSR4 Mark II. Have fun out there.